Welcome to another edition of Capital Area Chats. I'm your host, Paul Brogan, and we're about everything in the greater Concord area. The people, places, and things that make this a great place to live, to work, and to play. This is our first show of 2023, so Happy New Year to all of you. And it's a very special show because it's about something in this community that is remarkable and special, the Concord Public Library. It's about a lot more than books. And today we are having two guests who will tell us some of the things going on at the library and why it's a place that everyone should go. Our guests today are Ashley Miller, who is the Archivist, Reference, and Outreach Coordinator, and Becky Kasdan, the Youth Services Manager. Welcome to the show to both of you.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's nice to be here.
Well, I love having you here. I really do, because, of course, I've been a fan of the library for 60 years. I'll let people just figure out it's more than 60. So since I got my first card, which I still have actually in a drawer at home. I treated it like it was an American Express card as a little kid because I said, oh, this is special. I have value and I can do things with it that I couldn't do before. But welcome to both of you. And I guess I'll start with you, Ashley. Why is the Concord Public Library important to our community?
Oh man, that is a great question. You can get everything you need and everything you want for free. It's the one place in our community you can spend your entire day there, open to close, without spending a dime.
Mm-hmm.
We have obviously books, movies, magazines, ebooks, audiobooks, anything you could possibly want, but we have so much more than that.
Mm-hmm.
We have free programming for people of all ages, from kids all the way through to adults. We have spaces to gather, spaces to meet as a community. We engage in partnerships. We have brand new, that just launched today, a library of things, so you can check out everything from an acoustic guitar to a metal detector. So
Wow.
Truly, it's the one place you can get anything you want for free,
Mm-hmm.
just about.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's great. And how long have you been at the library?
It'll be 6 years in March.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you must love it.
I
You
do.
must.
I love it so much. I love the staff. I love helping the patrons. I love the community. I'm a Concord resident myself, so it's
Mm-hmm.
also my library.
Mm-hmm. It is. And people that thumb their noses or think that it's pretentious or only for a certain group of people are missing really what goes on, and everything from the summer concerts outside,
Right.
which are wonderful
Thank
and
you.
free, and you have such a great variety of musicians that come, and it just energizes that whole for blocks. I mean, people stop and listen and really enjoy that.
Thank
So.
you. The summer concerts are personally one of my favorite things to plan and execute. A lot of love goes into those. I start the planning, actually, I'm starting the planning right now for
Already?
this summer. Yes.
Great.
Yeah. So.
Well, since we don't have winter, we might as well move on to spring and summer.
I mean, I'm okay with skipping ahead.
Oh, me too. Me, absolutely. Shoveling, I gave that up for Lent last year, and I should just continue to, give it up. But anyway, Becky, you're new to the area.
I am. I moved here 2 years ago, just a couple weeks ago, and
Mm-hmm.
I moved specifically for this job. So I'm super happy to be here, and have really. Ashley and I were just talking about this a little bit this morning. Really, it's been a big growth experience for me. I've been very happy to be a head of children's services at the library, and as we were leaving the building today, the tween age group, they were playing Dungeons and Dragons, and you could hear them through the building, and it's a great place to work, and it doesn't feel like work a lot of the time.
Well, there's an energy when you walk through the doors. I mean, there truly is, just in everything. And I mean, you do have the most wonderful staff, from the people that are right there at the front desk, and Patty and this,
yeah.
all they become like friends because they're not just doing a job, and they're not just the face of the library, but they really engage with the patrons, and that's throughout the place. I mean, there's something just wonderfully uplifting about being there. And if you have a question, there's always somebody ready to, answer it and everything. Now, youth services,
Yes.
is that including young children all the way up through teens?
It is, yep. Everybody from birth up until you are through high school. And, we started a STEAM program. I'm trying to think. It's probably been about a year ago now. We had a STEAM program for elementary school ages, and STEAM stands for science, tech, engineering, art, math. But we started, the state library had a really nice growth opportunity for librarians, and we were talking about just learning a lot about how much early exposure to things like engineering and math, all those concepts, not only are good just for learning those particular concepts, but they also translate to growth for your literacy rate. So oddly enough, doing math, like even when you're a little baby, which math for little babies is very different than it is for elementary school age kids, but all that hands-on manipulative kind of things that they're doing with their parents and that are really early math and science engineering kind of concepts translates into better literacy as they get older. So, and there are not a lot of places where anybody from any income level can go. There's a lot of after-school programs and there's a lot of other programming for kids that families engage in, but we offer something that is free, and people are already paying for it with their taxes. So it really levels the playing field for families. It doesn't matter, who you are. You can come in, and from birth, we also have a program called 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten, which it's amazing the kids who aren't read to and who haven't had exposure to literature in those early formative years. When they get to elementary school, they're behind, and so that's one of our big goals to get kids started early, and so we do a lot of outreach to people to try to promote this resource that they're already paying for and that we have available. So
True, absolutely. Ashley, a few years ago, there was all kinds of talk that libraries were going to be a thing of the past, people were not going to need them anymore, or they were going to become, obsolete dinosaurs or something. Have you, during the 6 years you've been there, have you seen it diminish the impact, or have you seen it grow some?
Oh, certainly. I mean, we've only grown as far as I've been there. And I think COVID certainly proved the importance of libraries. When everyone was home on lockdown, our circulation statistics for ebooks, audiobooks, for our downloadable services shot through the roof. We were doing at-home programming, so we used YouTube, we used Zoom. We were doing programs multiple times a week that were packed full of our patrons.
So there's no risk that libraries are going to just be gone at any time?
Certainly not. Even, if you were to walk into the library today, we were packed today. Becky and I were on the desk this afternoon, the 1 to 3 time slot. When you think most people, are at work or at lunch or whatever, we were slammed. We couldn't get a word in edgewise to talk to each other about our upcoming winter reading program, which we thought, we'll have time to plan this while we're on the desk. Little did we know. I get calls every day, people calling. I have patrons who call who have a hard time seeing, and they'll call for phone numbers, local phone numbers. They're like, I'm so sorry, I can't read the phone book, but can you tell me this phone number? Or patrons who need information or a meeting space. We're not going anywhere.
No, good. That's good to know, because it is a gathering place for the community, and everyone is an equal there, and that's the wonderful thing. I mean, there's no status or defined by how much money you make or where you live or anything else. And I think that's so important, is to just be able to go to a place, a space that's safe and wonderful and encouraging and, everything else. So, would one of you like to talk about the winter program and the reading program?
Well, I'll start saying with Ashley and I, this is our second year. We just started our second round of Ultimate Book Nerd.
Oh, yeah.
And Ultimate Book Nerd is a year-long reading program. We're about to celebrate with our first year, so 2022. We just got the last of our finishers, and I have to say I was one of them. I finished at 3:43 New Year's Eve with my 50th book. So it's 50 books in 52 weeks.
Yep.
They're in these different categories, so you have, it's not too late to start. And we had some very devoted nerds, Ultimate Book Nerds, and so shortly they will be card-carrying nerds because we're about to give out our swag for all the people who finished the first year. But people have been calling. We keep a lot of lists of suggestions for all those 50 categories, and I say daily we're fielding a lot of questions about Ultimate Book Nerds. So that's the first reading program of the year, and it's off with a bang. And I myself I've tackled one of the categories as a book 500 pages or longer. So I'm listening to an audiobook. Boy, I'm starting early on this one, and we don't mess around. We're going for the whole thing.
It doesn't have to be actually picking up a book. An audio book qualifies to do
Audiobooks
it.
count as reading.
Yeah.
We'll allow it.
Yes.
All right, because you have an enormous selection of audio books. It's amazing how many it's.
And we just were talking with our assistant director, Matt. We were talking about our circulation figures, which have been up, which is great. And then we were talking specifically about our audio and ebook collections, and the circulation figures for those things have just grown and grown and grown. And it's really neat. It's not just kind of the young and tech savvy people. We've got a lot of older people who are learning how to download audiobooks on their devices, and we offer a lot of help. So if people are a little nervous about, I don't know how to get a audiobook on my phone, we are here to help. So we'll help get them hooked up.
Who selects the books for those programs? Is that
So we make our own categories, and the patrons select the books.
Oh.
Yes. So there's a book by there's a category for a book by a local author, or a book recommended by a librarian or a friend, or we even have a reader's choice this year.
A book that involves a heist.
Yes.
Just saying all sorts of things.
Wow.
So it gives
There's
people
something for
lots of
everyone.
options. Yeah.
That's great. Oh, that's wonderful. Now, does everybody who participates then read that book that's selected, or can everybody read whatever they want within that category?
Right. Everyone can
Oh,
read whatever
okay.
they want within the category. So it's nice and easy. But the trick is trying to decide where to put each book. That's half the battle. Is you have free range, but you need to make it fit within those categories.
So, for instance, if you read like a mystery by a local author, it could go in our cozy mystery category, or it could go in our New England author category. And most of us, we started out writing in pen, and then we throughout the year we have meetings of the nerds, and so we get together, the nerds get together, and we talk a lot of books, and we offer each other suggestions, and we all decided that it was horrible to write in pen. We had to write in pencil. Some people are doing them they've created spreadsheets on their computers so they can move categories and read with their siblings, which is kind of fun. We have local people who have spread it to their family members all over the place, and then they're kind of reading in tandem, not the same books, but kind of reading and talking with their family members. So it's a pretty fun sort
That's
of
wonderful.
program. Yeah.
Now, how does the library itself go about selecting the books that are going to become part of circulation? Is that a mutual decision from a group of people beyond reading the New York Times book review or something like that?
So each of us, and it does change, a number of us are selectors. So for example, I might select for the 900s or the 800s, and so I would have that entire collection of Dewey numbers.
Yes.
And we have a multiple professional book reviews, so everything from Publishers Weekly to Kirkus reviews to New York Times. There's even more. And we'll look at those, we rotate them, we try to swap them out as quickly as possible to get them to each other, and then we select based on the reviews for our collecting area.
And that includes Pennacook, correct?
Correct. And the
library.
Heights.
And the Heights, that's right.
Yeah.
And for us in children's, we do. I have my staff. We kind of divvy it up between. There's I think 4 of us who order throughout the different categories. So I do a lot of the picture book ordering, for instance. And Meg Roby, who does a lot of our like YA and older kid sort of things. We discuss a lot, and then we get a lot of suggestions from patrons who are like, I loved so much this graphic novel, would you get more? And we're very open to suggestion, and that's true for the adult collection as well. So we definitely do a lot of peer, reviewed, we rely heavily on reviews, but we also are pretty big readers ourselves, and we take into account a lot of the opinions of the community as well.
Now, if someone wanted to read a book that you don't have in your collection, you can obtain that, correct, from another library that may have it. You have a system that allows that to occur.
We have interlibrary loan. So first we'll look inside the state of New Hampshire to see if any New Hampshire library has it, because we have a lovely van service in the state where all of us work together through the state library.
Oh, okay.
And they have vans that go out on a weekly basis to deliver to each library. So we have that exchange. And if we can't find it in the state, books we can find anywhere in the country. Any sort of multimedia, we need to stay within the state, but books we can get from anywhere in the country.
That's great. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we have a pretty brisk use of the interlibrary loan system, which is what it is. I would say people, and within the past year or so, you can do that on your own. We have instructions online, so there are people who love to get books that, very specific books that we may or may not have, and they're pretty adept at using the system. So that's something we are happy to do for them, but also people are welcome to do it themselves, and we'll help teach them.
And your website has, any kind of information just about, including book titles you could search by author, by topic, by title, and it's, all on there. Now, if someone wants to get a library card, is that limited to people within a certain area to have a card at the Concord Public Library?
Yes and no. To have a free card at the
Yes.
Concord Public Library, you have to be a Concord or Pennacook resident or a teacher. We do offer free library cards to teachers who teach at Concord High or even Merrimack Valley, any sort of high school or any school within Concord or Pennacook.
And business owners.
And business owners, but it
Here in
has
the
to be
community.
the business owner to have the card.
Not the staff.
Not
or
the staff.
employees. Okay.
Right. The owner could then list employees, designees, but it has to be the business owner who
does.
comes to get the card. Now, for those who aren't fortunate enough to live here for the free card, you can pay for a card.
Okay.
For a 6-month card or a year-long card, and the rates are different for senior citizens.
Right.
So it's actually, I've lived and worked in different places, and our rates are pretty reasonable. So we have quite a number of people who just they spend a lot of time in Concord for whatever reason and come in and just get their cards so that they can check in and out.
But there is no fee for someone just to come in and look around or
Use the computers.
just peruse or sit down, because I always see people just in there reading through books or particular parts that they're interested in. And it's such a congenial environment. I mean, it really is just, it's hard to describe how nice it feels to go there, because it's like an oasis in the midst of a sometimes chaotic world, but you go in there and you can just take a breath and just sort of reconnect with things that have value and meaning, and just do like that. So
I feel like libraries are very great hubs for cultural resources, and I do think you're exactly right. We have a lot of people who come to programming at the library. It really is. It's just there's a book called Palaces for the People, and it refers specifically to libraries. They are sort of palaces for the people. They're everybody's welcome. They are places where you can learn, educate yourself or relax or feel safe or comfortable. And for little kids, I think for many of us who started out, I have my library card also from 2nd grade when I got my first library card. It has the metal strip on it, but I keep it because for me it's like, it was one of the best days of my whole life. So.
it really does. It just sort of made you suddenly feel totally grown up and mature, and that you were getting a certain recognition and that you had value, and you could go do that and open all those portals into another world or anything else that you wanted to do. So
Yeah.
that's wonderful. That's wonderful. What is upcoming beyond the winter reading program? Are there any particular events that either one of you would like to reference?
Yeah. February 7th at the Heights Community Center, we're going to have a living history performer of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and that's, of course, free and open to the public. You just have to register on our website.
Okay.
And then February 9th, we have at Litherman's, we have Beat the Librarians Trivia Night. If you haven't been yet, it's a great time.
Is it?
Yeah. we certainly enjoy it. I think we might enjoy it just as much as the patrons.
It's true.
Things
We're
get a little competitive.
Yes, I was going to say we're competitive.
Yeah.
We don't mess around.
That's good.
don't.
Yeah.
That's good. Uh-huh. Oh.
And then our winter, well, we have book bingo for the teens and adults, and then the kids have bookmarks that track the amount of time they read. We have winter reading as well as Ultimate Book Nerd UBN, which can be done in tandem. The categories are similar so that you can double dip and earn double the prizes, and that's going to launch January 23rd.
Okay.
So coming up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And children's, we tend to have a lot of monthly programming. So we have, like I mentioned, Dungeons and Dragons is going on right now. We also have a tween club called Here Be Dragons, which is it's actually a lot of art and a lot of writing, and we are creating our own role-playing game, which is kind of fun. But we have Wiggles and Giggles for little kids. We have yoga for little people, STEAM for elementary school, and the littlest among us. We have Lego Club, which is very popular, and we're just about to, I don't think I've talked to you about this, but we're going to do a Saturday Lego Club coming up because we have a lot of families that weekday evenings and weekdays are hard for them. So anyhow, there's crafternoons. Pretty much there's something going on almost every day at the up in the children's wing, so we've got lots happening.
And all that information is available on the website or inside the library when you walk in on the bulletin board, usually on the right as you walk in, or inside posted somewhere.
Yeah.
All of the exciting upcoming things and
Yeah.
everything. So things are hopping down there. And I would urge anyone who hasn't checked out our library to go down there and see. Because it is constantly a work in, it's evolving because, if you went before the pandemic and all of that, things are different now, and programming just continually changes.
And I want to mention something.
Yes.
I was thinking about this. In the middle of winter, this is not happening. But as soon as spring gets around, last year we got a grant for 2 e-bikes with trailers. So even if you don't come see us, you're bound to see us out in the community. We have, they're basically like a bookmobile, but they're on bikes.
Yeah.
And so you'll see a couple of us. Sometimes it's Ashley and I. Sometimes it's, some of us. Others of us, and we ride around town, and we bring, sometimes we have books that we give away, but we always have books that we check out for people. And part of the reason is there's a lot of people new to not only the town or the city, but also people who are new to the country who aren't familiar completely with the way libraries work here.
Yes.
And we definitely want to reach out to them. So we decided, why just wait at the library for them to come to us? We will bring the library to the people. So
great.
yeah, people should keep an eye out for us. It's called Word on the Street, and we
Okay.
have 2 bikes, Abbott and Downing.
Ah.
And around the town we go. So yeah.
Okay, well that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier to maneuver than the huge bookmobile we used to have.
Although
Yeah.
this is a hilly town, I
Yeah.
will just say.
Oh, yes.
So
It's great for cardio.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
that's exactly
It's-
right.
I enjoy that aspect of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is another reason I'm loving not having winter this year
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I don't have to walk in the street edge or anything else.
Yes.
I love to do my 3 miles a day.
Oh, good for you.
But, yeah.
We'll get you on the bike sometime.
Yeah.
Yes.
You show up at the
Yeah, there you
Yes,
go.
okay. All
We'll
right.
get some
Well,
volunteer riders.
Yeah.
I would, I think. It's one of those things you never forget how to do.
That's
Right.
exactly
But,
right.
okay,
Yes.
all right. Well, good. All right. Well, I want to thank you both for coming by today, and we'll have you back again maybe before the summer program so you can talk about the summer concert series and some of the other things that will be coming up then. But It's just, it reinforces your visit and what a fortunate community we are to have a library that's so filled with positive energy. And I think that that's the really wonderful thing. And anyone who has preconceived notions about a library, come to the Concord Public Library and rediscover exactly what a library is and should be and can be and is, because it's all of that and then, some. So,
Wow.
Ashley and Becky, thank you both for stopping by and for sharing your information with us in such an entertaining way.
Thank you
so
so
much for having us.
This is great. We're
It's a
very
pleasure.
happy to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Well, that's just about it for this time, but I want to thank my guests, and I want to thank the Concord Public Library for allowing them to come by, and they're wonderful representatives of the library. I also want to thank Matt and Concord TV and all of you who drop me emails or messages to say you enjoy the shows. We'll be back again soon with another episode of Capital Area Chats. I wish you all the best for 2023, and this is your host, Paul Brogan, saying goodbye for now.